You'd like to see here on the show, email us. The address is freshgear@techtv.com. We'll see you next time.
Tonight, find out what makes a digital game successful. The truth is near. Plus, scared of the RIAA? Don't worry, Kevin shows you some lesser-known underground P2P networks. And speaking of P2P, Ben Affleck talks file sharing and his hot new movie, Jersey Girl. Live from the TechTV studios in San Francisco, it's the Screensavers. Woo!
Screensavers. I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for being here. This is the place where we share with you everything you need or ever wanted to know about technology.
Amazing show coming up tonight. Learn what makes a great video game. We got some pretty high-powered guests in
Interesting
about this.
stuff.
Good
yeah.
stuff. Plus, I got to talk with Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
About being a geek and about Jersey Girl. Great flick.
I know you're a big Ben Affleck fan. This must have been exciting.
It's cool.
Oh, man. What else?
Cool.
Kevin, is Kevin working on something?
Kevin's here.
I am indeed. I got an honest question for you guys. Are you scared of the RIAA at all?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all?
No.
Pat?
I've never downloaded. I've never stolen.
Who's your favorite punk band?
Oh, boy.
Penny Whistle.
Actually, no, I'll say Flogging Molly.
Flogging Molly, because they're coming to
if there was
town.
an album that wasn't released on the internet of Flogging Molly on a P2P network, would you not download it?
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I would download it.
No, I'll give you an example. Not Rolling Stones. Led Zeppelin and the Beatles. I would like to buy music on iTunes Music Store from them, but they don't allow
don't
it.
have it
So
yet.
I steal it.
You heard it? Don't encourage him.
Come on and get me, copper. I'm right here. Sorry.
Leo's been hanging out with the Dark Tip for a little too long. So I got some underground P2P networks I'm going to show you today. A little lesser known ones. Ones the RIAA isn't probably on yet. And they're pretty cool.
Fun.
But nothing is as cool as Sarah's cool new boots that she has today.
Oh!
These boots
Look at
are made
these.
for walking, and that's what they're going to do.
So
one of these days, these
pink Ugg boots. I've never been so happy. I'm never taking them off.
Man, they're so
This is the
cute.
best day of my life.
I wouldn't mind being stopped by those boots.
Woo! One of these big
Speaking of
boots
which-
are going to walk all over you, Leo Laporte.
Really?
Now that we've horrified a large part of
Yeah.
the
Just
East
Gonna lie down here and get ready. Okay.
That feels good. That feels really good.
Come on, you can
I've
step
always
on me
wanted to do
anytime
that.
What? That's it?
No,
She weighs like nothing.
not going there.
All right. No. That was fun.
That was fun.
I'm gonna
Let's
watch
do that again tomorrow.
I think I'll be watching the reruns of this show.
Damn it.
Hey, what's in the news there,
Okay,
Shirley?
should we just get to the news now?
Yes.
Okay, another round of RIAA lawsuits are being issued today. It's not really good news for file sharers. Today's round included a total of 532 illegal file sharers. Among those are 89 individuals using university networks. Ouch. The universities are in the following states: Arizona, California, Colorado, Indiana, Maryland, Michigan, New York, Pennsylvania,
Wow.
Tennessee, Washington, D.C., and Wisconsin. Yeah, it's here for Wisconsin.
Now, if everybody listens closely, you can hear hundreds of
clap.
students,
Erasing.
dozens of campuses immediately
That's
running
what
out
you
of
should
the
have done,
dorm
Kevin. Your dark tip should be how to erase the files on your hard
rooms.
drive.
It doesn't matter. They have an IP address that's been assigned to you that was used for the files of the peer-to-peer file sharing client, and basically now they subpoena the university with John Doe lawsuits, or all the 89 were universities. The rest of them were regular commercial ISPs. Now they just walk up and say, "Give us the name."
Give us the
Who
name.
was using this IP address at this time?
I guess it's too late to.
But
erase
you
those
can just hear it. You
files.
figure like Penn State, Notre Dame,
Oh, man.
NYU.
Freaking,
You know,
they're freaking in the halls. They're all on spring break. They don't care. They're going to come back. though.
maybe that's why they're doing it now.
Maybe. Story
Yeah,
number 2.
spring break! Never mind. You might have heard that Microsoft was in trouble with the law again recently, this time in Europe. Well, the European Union regulators have ruled against Microsoft, stating that the company has violated their antitrust laws with unfair, monopolistic practices. Microsoft's been ordered to pay a 497 million euro fine. For those of us with no knowledge of the metric system, that's $602 million US. It's also required to unbundle their media player from Windows.
Within 90 days.
That's gotta hurt. Whoa! Oh!
No, and they just have to offer a version of the operating system without the media player to companies that sell systems, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, this is a huge fine, and it's like 1/50th.
Nothing. It's interest.
Of their,
It's interest for a day. Well, they paid $750 million last year. Remember that in the AOL suit? This doesn't hurt Microsoft. It's a slap on the wrist, and I think what Microsoft was legitimately more worried about is what kind of business regulations are they going to have to follow. Unbundle media player? That's what? Okay. I mean, so it didn't come on my machine, I'll go download it. Big deal. Okay, well, all right, fine.
What do you say?
It's a slap on the wrist is what you say. Even it sounds like a lot of money. And it is for you and me. Well, it's for you anyway. But for Bill, it's nothing. For Bill, it's nothing. I mean, that's nothing. All right, story 3.
Story 3, more Microsoft news.
More?
Looks like Microsoft is going to join the likes of Apple and Napster with their own online music store this autumn.
I like Simply Gates.
Simply Gates. Gosh, that was a good one. Good times.
Picture's worth 1,000 words. I've got 1 billion for you.
Stop.
There was a guy named David Gates. Remember that? Bread. Something like that.
Yeah.
And then
I do know
MC
the group
Bomber.
Bread.
Like Fog Hat, those were
MC
fine
Bomber?
bands.
MC Bomber. I like
Can't touch that.
Can't touch that. Can't buy that. Clip along with Clippy. Those are good songs.
Actually, I kind of like this, though. The two greatest marketing machines in the United States, Walmart and Microsoft, pitched against each other.
Wow, that is
Music
interesting.
downloads.
That is interesting.
Basically, eventually one of those two companies is going to own everything else in the United States.
You know, if you're Apple and you got this nice little thing called iTunes Music Store, you're not making a lot of money, but you're
making
going
no
along.
money off of it.
Yeah, you're not actually making any money. Although I don't fully buy that. They're writing off all the infrastructure they had to buy. I'm sure in the long run it's a very profitable venture, but you got to worry now because along come these big giant companies.
Now that they've unbundled the Windows Media Player from the desktop, they're just going to put a link to the Microsoft Music Store, which is much more profitable.
Ooh, yeah, unbundle that. Try unbundling that. That would cut it. Sarah Lane, and your boots. Thank you very much. Do I have footprints on my back? No. No? Shoot. All right. Next time. Let's take our first call of the day. Gerald on the line from Avery, Texas. Hello, Gerald.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
How can we help you today?
Well, our problem is we've got an audio set up at our church, and we'd like to be able to take video through a video camera and put it into a DVD recorder and burn a DVD right there without a computer.
Oh, wow.
Is there any way you can accomplish that?
I don't know of any real-time DVD burners. In other words, if you burn a DVD, can you burn it?
Do you want to save raw video to? You want to save the raw mini DV video to the disc, or do you actually want to create something somebody can take home and
Walk out
give
the
to
door
their aunt or their uncle or somebody who couldn't make the search?
Yeah. Why DVD? Why do you want to do that?
Well, we're trying to convert to digital. Right now, I take an audio cassette home and convert it to an audio CD.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't do that with video.
Well, you can. I mean, you can buy. There are a number of camcorders. Sony makes them. Many other companies do that actually have DVD recorders in the camcorder. You record directly to a DVD. They're not a full-size DVD. They're a mini DVD. But in every other respect, they're the same. You can pop them out, put them in your DVD player. It'll play just like a DVD. So if that's all you want to do, yeah, you can do that.
Well, what I'd like to use is that they've got the boxes that you can put a VHS tape into it and convert that to DVD.
Right.
Do those boxes work the same way, plugging a video camera into it?
I see what he's saying.
I don't think they'll actually do it in real time.
That's interesting.
I mean, it's right, because basically what you want to do, you want the least painful way to make a DVD that folks can take home.
But you're only going to get one.
Right.
You only
You'd have
one.
to. Yeah.
What about recording to a hard drive? Would you be willing to do that, Gerald?
Well,
why
right now,
DVD? I don't understand. I'll tell you, here's the problem I think we have with DVD. First of all, that's a lower quality format than the DV tape format. So when you're recording DVD, you're going to record an MPEG-2,
right.
Lower quality. I would rather see you record to a hard drive in full DV quality and then burn DVDs, because at least you'd have the high quality original. Right. I mean, is it just convenience? Why is it you want to go right to DVD?
Well, Yeah, basically it's convenient, and we don't have a lot of money to spend.
Got it.
Okay.
For audio, it's not a big problem for us. Our computer can handle it. The
Right.
video part is a little more trickier, at least on our home front.
But you are going to buy something because you don't have any DVD recorder yet, right?
Right. We don't have a box. We don't have a camera.
Oh, you don't have a camera yet.
No.
I would say go get one. If you're really insisting on doing this DVD, which I'm not crazy about because of the quality, as we mentioned.
And the other thing is how long the DVDs will last that it actually burns on to.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
they're not the
And you're
most
only going to
common
get
DVD.
one.
Yeah.
You know why? Well, okay. If you insist, you can buy Sony. A lot of other companies make these. They burn right to DVD in the disc, in the camera.
Yeah.
That's it. Now, I would say you'd be better off buying a hard drive, plugging it into the DV camera, recording to the hard drive, and then you can make hundreds of DVDs out of this image.
Well, because normally, right, what you would do is you record your mini DV camera. You take the mini DV camera home.
You hook it up to
pull
the computer.
Yeah, you pull the mini DV, the video off of it, and you either burn it, basically you recompile it and burn it on the disc,
Right.
or you can edit it if you want to, trim stuff down.
Yeah.
You have to work that out with the pastor first, of course.
So there's your choices. I wouldn't buy a standalone DVD. There's no reason. Get a DVD recording camcorder, or record as normally on tape and put it on a computer and burn it from the computer. I think you get a better result, and you'd have more. You could make as many copies as you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to make a copy of the DVD, it's going to be even. It's going to degrade even more.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you,
thanks
Joe.
for the help, guys.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
All
good
right.
luck.
Yeah. It'd be neat if you could have like 100 DVD recorders,
Yeah.
slave it to those, and as the parishioners leave, you just go, here's your DVD.
That'd be
Hope
nice.
you enjoyed the service. Here's a DVD. Wouldn't that be cool?
It would also take like an entire semi-tractor trailer. full
Crazy.
of
You're
DVD
right.
burners.
Bad idea.
Nice idea, though.
Hey, I am so jealous. Patrick caught up with Ben Affleck yesterday. He talked to him about... Yeah.
Excited people here.
Apparently, I'm not the only jealous one. Just calm down, okay? It's okay. He actually talked with the Ben about his new movie, Jersey Girl, and a little file-sharing problem Ben's having. Coming up after the break, why do we find certain games appealing and other games... We'll take a look at what makes a game good when the screensavers continue. Stay right here. Why is it that we are attracted to games like EverQuest or EverCrack? We can't ever stop playing it. Or games like Euchre. You ever play Euchre? Great game. Well, there's a fascinating new book, a textbook really, that looks at the psychology and concepts of game design, from analog games to digital games, from chutes and ladders to daikatana. Joining us is Katie Salen. She's the co-author of Rules of Play, Game Design Fundamentals. Katie, it's great to have you.
Thank
This
you.
is a textbook, though.
It
You
is
use
a
this in your class, in your graduate level classes?
Graduate level class and
At Parsons School of
undergraduate.
Design, which is one of the best-known design schools. I think it's neat that Parsons has a graduate level courses in game design.
Game design.
That's kind of amazing. Is that new?
It's new. There's many programs that are starting around the country because game design is kind of the new field for people getting into design.
Yeah, well, games are now ranked up there with movies in terms of box office.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that's the only way to measure something
Sure.
like that. Think of it as an art form or as a form of commerce?
It's both. It
Yeah,
depends on
has
what.
to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Has to be both,
Sure.
yeah. There's a great quote in here. I love this at the back from Gregory Bates, and let me see if I can read it here. Life is a game whose purpose is to discover the rules. That's interesting. Which rules are always changing and undiscoverable. I love that. So is that kind of what a good game is? A game in which the rules aren't immediately clear?
No, actually, a good game is a game where the rules are very clear.
Yeah, it's not like life.
That's one quality, sure.
Yeah.
But games that are very interesting are games that there's a lot of uncertainty, which is very much how life is, and that there's a kind of discoverability of aspects of the game as you play it.
So unlike life, you can discover the rules of the game,
Absolutely.
which makes it satisfying
Free play,
in a way
absolutely.
that life is not
Absolutely.
satisfying. What is the number one thing that makes a game successful?
Well, in the book, we talk about this idea of meaningful play,
Yeah.
and it's the idea that every choice that you make in a game has meaning within that system of the game. So you have a sense that you matter in terms of that gameplay, and also the sense that the game is actually meaningful to you in terms of the experience that it's providing.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Here we're looking at Warcraft 3. In life, you do a lot of stuff that seems meaningless, and that is the stuff you don't like in life. And the stuff that where you have control or where it seems meaningful, that's what you like.
Sure.
So it makes sense. You wouldn't play a game. It wouldn't be fun if it were like life.
Sure.
You want to have a sense of meaning.
Yeah.
One of the things that makes this game interesting, and we were talking off the air about Blizzard's other game, Diablo 2, is there's hunting, but there's also a lot of collecting and building and constructing.
Right.
What is that all about?
Well, we talk about games having a core mechanic, which talks about the thing that a player is actually doing from moment to moment, and core mechanics like collecting, like hunting or shooting, like gathering, like trading, like sorting, are all kinds of things that we like to do as human beings. And
They're
so
primeval. They're basic things that you do.
Absolutely.
Hunting and gathering.
Right. And good games balance those very simple core mechanics with kind of complexity of gameplay in terms of how those mechanics over time add up to larger patterns of experience.
Now, you're speaking at the game, in fact, you just did speak at the Game Developers Conference in San Jose. Most game designers trained or not?
There historically hasn't been any program in game design, so most game designers for the past 10 years that have been making games have no training as game designers.
They're gamers.
They're gamers, which is actually an incredible kind of training.
Sure.
So we would never want games to be made by people that don't play games.
I love them if you're not going to go. But on the other hand, it also is, in a way, self-fulfilling because you're a gamer. You're going to kind of relive what you liked in the past.
Sure.
It might be hard to innovate if all you think about is what you did in the past. I guess you have to love movies to make movies.
Sure.
You could still innovate.
Right.
What makes it? All right, we said what makes a game good. What makes a game bad?
Games are bad when a player feels like they have no control.
Yes.
That there's no uncertainty in the game. There's a kind of fixed outcome.
Hate that.
It feels completely chaotic. Feels unmeaningful.
If too much certainty or too little certainty.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So this game Lifeline is an example of where technology failed a game.
Right.
This was a voice recognition game. We're going to let's listen to a little bit because people are supposed to be telling the character what to do.
Right.
Is the comm link still live? Operator, can you say something?
Talk now. Talk? Huh?
What kind of answer is that?
What kind of game is that? If the technology worked, I guess that would have been cool.
Well, this is actually a new game for PlayStation 2, and it's using voice recognition as the only way to control the gameplay.
No joystick.
No joystick. So it's actually a very interesting idea, and the game in theory is supposed to recognize hundreds of words, but the technology continually fails, so the character is not, in some sense, not listening to you and not behaving in ways that you want her to. So it's very frustrating to sort of move through the game.
Do you think game designers fall in love too much with technology and can actually hurt a game?
I think they do, absolutely.
Yeah. But just be loving the technology.
Well, sure, because we have this idea that technology is the thing that makes beautiful worlds for us to play in, but it doesn't address the gameplay necessarily.
Some of the best games are 2D, simple, graphically monotonous games that we still love to play.
Sure.
Games from our youth. I mean,
Pac-Man, Pong, Tetris is still one of the most popular games.
You don't need 3D graphics. You don't need texture maps. It's a great game.
Right. But that isn't to say that new technology can't lead us to new areas of discovery for kinds of gameplay.
Right.
And this is where Lifeline, I think, begins to ask an interesting question about people's relationship to the input device of the game.
Right.
And it just kind of is not so good right now, but I think eventually it will be good.
Here's a game that, well, it was about as simple as you can get, and yet you cannot stop playing Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Now, this is an example of the mechanics of the game fitting exactly what the gameplay is, right?
Absolutely.
You only had a joystick that can move four different ways, and that's it.
Right. Very simple controller schema. The game design is incredibly elegant. You know immediately upon looking at it what you're supposed to do, and you repeat what you're doing over and over and over, and it gets more complex over time. And it's also hilarious. I mean, the ghosts are great and cute, and you eventually get to meet Ms. Pac-Man, which is a slightly great moment.
Is it important that you have a big payoff or a reward or a series of rewards?
It is important. It's not just the end reward, but that a player is constantly being rewarded in some way as they play the game.
All games now have bosses. Is that an important part of the design?
Well, not all games have bosses, but this idea of a kind of boss level.
Right.
Well, we can make a corollary with narrative.
Yeah.
So we want games to have moments of drama.
It's a climax.
And a sort of boss level. Yeah, it's a kind of climax. It's a moment where you kind of work up towards this great moment, and then you beat the boss. You get to the next level, and then you work up again, and you get to beat the boss again. So that kind of reward and punishment system is something we often see in games.
Have designers sometimes gone wrong by trying to make it too much like narrative? You don't want it to be too linear, do you?
Well, I think there's right now a huge tension between gamers that want more narrative in
like
games.
Like a story that you follow, point by point by point.
But narrative in games, in some sense, are fundamentally the opposite things.
Interesting.
Because games are interactive systems, and narratives are not at all about interactivity.
The author's leading you down a path.
Sure.
You can't really lead a gamer. They don't want to be led. They feel like they're being dragged along.
Well, I mean, there's a kind of game called games on rails, and they're actually games where you don't have a lot of choice about what you do. But in a well-designed version, you have a feeling. It's an illusion that you are actually in control.
So that can work.
It can work, absolutely.
Let's talk just briefly about the future of gaming. If technology were not an issue one way or the other, what would you see? What would the ideal game be?
Well, it's a very relative question.
Yeah.
I have an interest in games that are very social, and it's games that bring people together, whether it's deals with people all over the globe playing together in terms of massively multiplayer games.
That's very hot right now.
Right. But I'm also interested in games that are much smaller and maybe are kind of profoundly interesting for smaller groups of people, which really goes against the development model where you need to sell a game to millions and millions of people.
But if it's not too expensive a game to develop, maybe you can make a game that thousands love. You know, Euchre's a good example.
Right, absolutely. Actually, millions of people love Euchre.
I love Euchre. I thought I was the only one. Yeah. It's kind of an old-fashioned game. You play online, Euchre online?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yep. Do you?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we probably played each other. There can't be that many of us. You'll find links to pick up a copy of Rules of Play in the show notes section of the screensavers.com. There's so much more to this that we didn't cover. It is really fascinating. What I find interesting is that we're even thinking about it now. It's kind of become explicit, and people are really starting to think, what makes a game good, instead of just intuitively designing something in a hit or miss process. Now, listen up. If you want to win some money, Sarah has some exciting details, Sarah.
That's right. You could be TechTV's next winner of a $25,000 shopping spree or $500 daily cash prizes. Both are good, but time is running out. You have to watch TechTV every night from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern. Look for our TechTV Digital Digs Den sweepstakes commercials, which of course contain TechTV secret codes. Each time you see a different secret clue, go to techtv.com/digitaldigs to enter to win. There are 4 new codes each night with 4 chances to enter every day. Got lots of chances here, peeps, but remember, this is the last week, so be sure to watch and play every day. It's fun! You might win some money. Now, still ahead, we'll tell our next caller about hard drive security, internal, external, what's safer, what should they do? And coming up next, he may still be learning about babies, but Ben Affleck definitely knows his tech. Are you surprised? Pat got a chance to chat with a Hollywood geek with a new hit flick on his hands when the Screensavers continue.
He won an Oscar for co-writing Good Will Hunting, and best of all, he's a bona fide geek. The man loves video games and has built his own systems. He's also the star of a new movie, Jersey Girl, directed by Kevin Smith. Ben Affleck, welcome to the Screensavers.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
I saw Jersey Girl last night. Great movie, not just because I'm a Jersey local. Just a great role. You must have loved working on this one.
Thanks, I did. I had a great time, and it's the movie I'm most proud of anything I've ever done. I think it's Kevin Smith's best movie, and I love it. I really do.
What was it like working with Kevin Smith again? Is he finally letting you improvise on lines, or is he keeping it?
I got a couple of lines in there. I had one. There's one line about carpal tunnel syndrome. That was my line. It's a big laugh, you'll notice.
It did.
But for the most part, he likes to keep a tight rein on things.
Now, you started off, I understand, on a Commodore 64, downloading games off of bulletin boards.
Most of the time, we weren't even downloading because the games, were just way too big. I mean, I had a 300 baud modem. Okay, I was like, and this was I would go over and pay somebody $5 and I'd get a bunch of floppy disks and they'd have the Commodore 64 version of Tapper on there, crack. It was pretty pitiful, but times have changed.
Does it make you an early Wares kitty? Back in the day?
That's right. Wares with a Z.
I love that thought. So you used to preview music on Napster. Given all the lawsuits and stuff on peer-to-peer sites, have you done you still playing around with Kazaa or anything like that? Or are you done?
I use Kazaa. I do, on principle, just go out and buy music that any music that I download, I will go out and buy on principle. But one of the things I've noticed about Kazaa lately is that, I don't know, is it a virus or something where now the songs a lot of them are corrupted?
Yeah.
Who is it? The record industry doing that, or who's doing that?
It's really interesting. There's actually a bunch of anti-software pirate vigilantes that are running around, and actually they've created a Trojan where you download a program. Let's say you download Photoshop off of Kazaa, and it'll actually load up something on your system. It'll be like, naughty pirate, don't do that, and send your IP address to their website. People are hacking up. People are actually doing also a lot of hacking up audio files, which sounds like what you're running into.
Yeah, what do they do? So they hack up the audio file. Now, can you download something that will infect your audio files that you already have saved on your drive?
No, it just shouldn't impact those at all.
So they just put infected audio files out there.
Right. Basically, like one of the early rumors was, remember when the RIAA was like, we want to be able to hack people that are sharing files. One of the things that they have been able to do, or at least that's the big rumor, nobody's ever found the credit card receipts from the RIAA to companies where they're going. But a lot of what they're trying to do is introduce bad quality of song files. So people that download it, they're like, I spent 4 hours downloading this, it stinks, I'm never going to this peer-to-peer site again.
Huh. Well, that may be what they're doing. But it's interesting. It's that's probably the most effective way to counteract piracy, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, make it just such a frustrating experience.
Well, yeah, make it a bad experience. Then you'll just go to the Apple Music Store or whatever it is. I mean, I wish that the pay services would move faster toward, a uniform system where you got like one, where you can either go subscription-based, so it's not like Apple Music Store and somewhere else and somewhere else. But, I mean, I think that's the goal.
It'd be nice. So you were telling me before that you're moving your systems into a new house and you're setting your Avid up with your home theater system. How's that going?
That's been a challenge to integrate it. I mean, particularly with the digital amplifiers for the digital projectors, what used to be called line quadruplers, which is now like something even they do a process even more sophisticated than simply quadrupling the lines, like a digital enhancer. And trying to get to use that with the Avid output and into the digital projector has been tough. But one of the things that's been great is with Project Greenlight, we're sponsored with HP now, and so I've gotten a chance to look at all their new stuff. And they got some really good stuff. They got some good high-end home desktops. They got good. They got a great laptop tablet. So I've been using the HP stuff, and I've been real happy with it. I hadn't been a big HP customer, and I like their stuff a lot now.
Very cool. Are you using any of that, like when you're on location, or are you using wireless access, a cell phone, PDA?
Yeah, I use the PDA and use wireless stuff, but mostly I do remote access now, where I have the server set up to be, because I have multiple houses, so I set up as remote login so that I can actually, so that I can access files. Because what happens is I'll say I'm writing something and I'll leave it in my place on the computer in Savannah, and then it's like a headache trying to tell someone to go over there, and I'll be like, okay, now open this file up and send it as an attachment, and it's a disaster trying to explain that to people. So I have them all. I can remote login now, and it's pretty good. Although I'm sure I'm gonna get hacked into by somebody eventually, and they're gonna just end up with a lot of bad porn. So don't bother.
2 words for you: Cisco firewalls. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Ben Affleck for taking the time to talk to us. Be sure to check out Jersey Girl opening in theaters this Friday, March 26th. Stick around. We got more screensavers coming up right after this. Thank you, Ben.
All right, man.
Those are made of peeps!
That's right. They're peeps molded to my foot.
They're made of peeps! Welcome back to the Screensavers. I'm Leo. Let's go.
Sorry, now I'm having a Soylent Green moment. I'm Patrick Norton, coming back in this half hour. Kevin invites you into the underworld of peer-to-peer file sharing networks, or how to swap files without getting sued.
Oh, I'm up for that.
Yeah, plus I got a quick tip. It's going to talk about your cell phone's software to basically improve it and get the most out of your cell phone.
My cell phone has software?
Lots of it. Firmware.
Firmware.
Software.
Firm software?
Firm software.
Better than soft firmware.
Brian, get us out of here.
Hey, Brian.
Howdy, boys.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good. How's everything out in San Francisco?
Yeah, good. How's everything in Asheville?
Not too bad.
Yeah, I was just in North Carolina. I love North Carolina. Nice state. Yeah, I was in Raleigh-Durham, though, not Asheville. What can we do for you?
Well, I'm wondering if external hard drives are any more secure than an internal secondary hard drive for backing up your system, or
secure in what way?
Well, I want to get into video editing, and I know you need a 160, 250 gigabyte hard drive to put your raw footage and stuff on.
Because you pile up a ton of it really quickly.
Yeah. I always hear that the way to go is the external hard drive, but I was just wondering, I see where you can get the same amount of gigabytes for almost half the cost.
All an external drive is an internal drive in a box.
Right.
But secure, I'm still trying to understand. You mean secure like so your stuff won't get stolen?
Well, no, secure, I guess, in like...
you mean like stable?
The advantage to an external one that it's not... You can unplug it, and so if you get a virus, by the fact that it's unplugged, it doesn't corrupt
the stuff on the external, where if you've got it internal.
I'll put it this way: the external drives, unless you literally chain them or glue them to your desktop, are incredibly insecure because somebody can pick them up and carry them someplace.
But he says he's worried about viruses.
Well, you're worried about whether it's any more or less stable than, say, the hard drives in the desktop. The reason people use external drives, right, is because you don't have to open up your system. You don't have to put it in a 3.5-inch drive bay. You're not putting a whole bunch of extra power taxing on your power supply in the system.
Yeah, but dude, if you have a virus and it's on the external drive, it's already on the internal drive by the time you notice.
Right.
So don't think that somehow you can isolate it out on that external drive.
Unless your external drive is unplugged from your system and sitting on a shelf somewhere.
But if it got the virus when it was plugged in, chances are everything on your system is infected. There's no safe place on your system. So that's not going to help you there. I think the reasons for external is what Patrick just said. You know, you got more storage, it's external, so it's not draining the power supply.
You're basically, rather than opening up your system and adding in a drive or removing it later, you're just plugging in. You can stack up 5 or 6 or 8 or 12 of these 1394 drives as you add more and more space onto your system.
But you're right, you save money on internal. I usually use internal, and I use the external for backup only. I don't use it for work, I just use it because then I can go from system to system and back up systems.
I have a friend who basically edits videos for a living. What he does is for each video, right, part of what he writes into the budget is he basically writes in an external 1394 drive. All of his clips get downloaded to that. All of his versions of his edits gets on there. So he basically writes in a black magic marker on the front, DVD 7, stacks it on the shelf when he's done.
Well, we were talking the other day off the air, and I think this is true, that in a way, the perfect backup medium, I think it was Ken Marcus, our series producer, that was saying this, is an external drive, not a DVD burner, not a CD burner. Dollar for dollar, cost per gigabyte, it's about the same, maybe a little bit more.
Cheap, it's stable,
and
it's fast.
It's reliable. You back up everything, you unplug it, you put the drive on the shelf, and it's not going to degrade.
Yeah.
So in a way, I think hard drive, because they become so cheap, it makes perfect sense to do things like that.
Although it's interesting, people are coming up with software now to back your system files up on the mini DV tapes through a camcorder.
Oh, no, I don't like that. No moving parts for me. No, I'll stick with a hard drive. So I think internal to save money is fine, and external more for backup.
As long as you don't drop it or kick it or knock it off your desk, it's basically just as secure. It's the same thing as an internal hard drive.
Hey, thanks for the call. We appreciate it, Brian.
Good question, Brian. Sarah has a tip along with her boots.
I've learned, even though I'm a real Linux expert after my segment yesterday, navigating my way around Linux is not quite as user-friendly as Windows, at least for beginners, but there is help. Go to GUILinux.org. They've got the latest Linux news, free tweaker happy downloads, and most importantly, forums. Yes, that's where you can name call each other and use excessive emoticons for no reason at all. Now, stay where you are. Get the most out of your mobile service with a quick tip from Pat himself. But up next, are you afraid of the RIAA? No need to be. Kevin has some underground P2P networks when the Screensavers continue.
Say, outstanding audience today.
What they lack in size, they make up in noisiness. Good. Don't forget to register for this week's Screensavers LAN party. Say it with me, audience. Powered by NVIDIA! We're playing the brand new Battlefield Vietnam. Grab your M16, jump in a Patton, or pick up your AK-47 and attack the enemy with your Soviet T-54 armored division. Oh, the good old days. How many screensavers can you frag? Go to the TechTV.com/LAN party and click on register for our LAN party to register and for links to download the game. And we'll see you Thursday for the Screensavers LAN party. We probably shouldn't use the word frag when you're doing Battlefield Vietnam.
That's what they did to the lieutenants that they were annoyed with.
That's one problem I have with this game is it's a little close to home. It's one thing to say, 1942, that was a long time ago.
I was in the Navy, 64 to 68. Not a light subject, Brad.
I know. Okay, well, now that we brought the group down,
Kevin,
it's your turn.
Yes, indeed, it is. If you're a P2P file swapper and you're a little scared of the RIAA, you should be. They're cracking down on Kazaa, eDonkey, Nutella users. That leaves a lot of people looking for a little bit of an alternative P2P network. So I got a few here for you today. The first one is called Wares. Yes, believe it or not, it is called Wares. If you didn't know what that term meant, it's an old BBS term for illegal files. And it sounds like an RIAA trap to me. I don't know. It's kind of a strange name. But
Wares, kid?
It's a great P2P client. Let's take a look at it here. One of the things I really like about it, it's extremely fast. We'll do a search from one of my favorite bands, Modest Mouse. And if you highlight over one of the titles here, it gives you a nice little description that it falls under the genre of indie. I like the way that it's laid out. It's a lot cleaner than Kazaa. The media player works extremely well. I couldn't believe it. You can actually play songs as you're downloading them. I'll show you an example here. I'm going to type in Machina 2. This is actually a public domain songs from the Smashing Pumpkins that they released.
That's kind of neat because then you know you're getting a good download if you can listen as you're downloading.
Exactly. So you know the quality that you're getting.
Yeah.
And, you know, Kazaa offers that as well, but it's always choppy and it sometimes doesn't work right. And I found that this one actually has a really good player built into it. And so let's click on here's the transfer. It looks just like it would if you were in Kazaa or something similar along the lines. One thing I really did like about this is that if you go into the chat, it has a pretty cool chat feature. Here is I joined the Hanson fans channel, yes. Let's go back in the Hanson fans chat here.
Is that Hillary Rosen I see in there? That's good. Yeah.
It's cool because it's no IRC. It's just like pretty straightforward. You just connect and you're ready to go. One of the things I do like, look on the right hand side here. Here's the users there's only 4 of us in the Hanson's fan chat, but look at people are joining now. If you right click on a member, you can grant them a slot. So if there's people waiting in queue to download files from you, if you become friends with someone, you can grant them a slot, or you can browse that user's file, whether it be audio, video, image, documents. It's a great little network. It's up and coming. It doesn't have probably 1/10 of the users that Kazaa or something like that does, but it's not really mainstream yet, but it's something you should check out.
It's fast.
Yes, it's fast, and it didn't have any adware, which is really cool. I did an adware scan afterwards.
There's a little ad in there, but
right, there's an ad built in.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes they install those adware, third-party stuff that runs in the system tray. It doesn't do any of that.
You don't know for a fact, though, it's not an RIAA honeypot.
I do not know that.
We should just mention that. It could be.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, with the name Wares, it seems like it is a little suspicious. Yeah, okay. That's what I was thinking when I first saw it. The next one here, iMesh. Have you ever played with iMesh before?
Yeah, I love iMesh.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. It's pretty, for the novice, it's very easy to use. This is how all your media is laid out here in audio, video.
That's an old timer.
Yeah, this has been around for quite a while. It's not as popular as the others. It's got a lot of users online, though, and I found a lot of the same different P2P songs and all different kinds of media that they have on here. A great little player. I used the player as well. I didn't have any problems with it. Something worth downloading, completely free. Now this next one I'm going to show you may have heard, Kazaa Lite, the K++ edition that we've shown on the show several times now, was killed by Sherman Networks. They took it down. They actually had their lawyers send papers to Google, so you couldn't find it within Google search results. You can't find it anywhere, but I'm here to tell you, welcome back. Kazaa Lite Resurrection is the name of it.
Oh, yeah. Reloaded, baby.
This is a new version of Kazaa Lite. It's called the Resurrection. It's actually pretty cool. There's the logo, Kazaa Resurrection. And same great features that you love in Kazaa Lite. None of the ads, none of the spyware. Yes, I'm that excited. But you can do searches here, and same features that we're talking about, traffic, searches, theater. I mean, you've seen this before with Kazaa Lite, just under a different name and same programmers. Can you search for that on Google? What's that?
Can you search for that
Yes,
on
you
Google?
can. You can find it. In fact, I put links in my article, along with 3 more P2P file sharing networks. You can find that at thescreensavers.com. Bunch of different ones there for you to try out. And but I got to tell you, run the adware and the Spybot Search and Destroy after you install these, because a lot of these have adware built into it.
That's smart. Very smart. Cool. That's
neat.
neat.
Guys. Yeah, cool stuff.
Resurrection. Fortunately, Charmin's probably too busy with its own legal problems right now to try to shut that down. Jeez.
Scary thought. Coming up after the break, what's the connection between a motherboard and a cell phone? Find out. I'll give you another mobile tip right after these messages.
Make sure you catch tomorrow's show. It's going to be a good wacky gadgets to keep you awake or asleep from Dick DiBartolo, our Quiz Niz Biz. Plus, we'll show you how to put any PC video file on your Replay TV and learn how to change your XP boot screen manually via safe mode. It's a Sarah tip, and it's all coming up on tomorrow's show. We brought it back just because you wanted them. It's another mobile tip. Patrick Norton.
You wonder what maybe this cell phone and this cell phone and this cell phone or this cell phone or this cell phone or even this cell phone.
Don't drop that cell phone.
I won't. Have in common with each other outside of the fact that they all have more features and are smaller than my cell phone. But even my cell phone has something in common with these. and the motherboard?
What is it? What is it, Patrick?
It's firmware, ladies and gentlemen. Your motherboard has a BIOS, a software code that makes it run. It tells it it's a motherboard, tells it to look for a processor and for memory. A personal computer has an operating system. On your cell phone, what do you call it? You call it firmware. What does it do? It controls every feature you use on your phone. Just like Windows, lots of MP3 players we've used, and the BIOS code in most motherboards. Well, sometimes the code in your cell phone needs an update, at least if you want it to work the way you expect it to maybe not, hang up when you get an SMS message or something like that. Really frustrating, right? Because cell phones rarely offer an easy way to upgrade their firmware. For what we've read online, only Siemens and Nextel offer you tools to upgrade the firmware on their phones yourself. What's that mean? Well, it means if you want to get your firmware upgraded, you're probably going to have to take your phone to a local shop, or you're going to have to send it into the service center for whoever your cell phone provider is. Worse than that, it's almost impossible to find out if there's a firmware update or a firmware fix for your phone. So what do? You call up the service department at your cell provider. You look around online, especially if you got, some fancy phone like Leo's got. Chances are a whole bunch of people have gotten together, built a website for it, and are talking about what works, what doesn't, and it'll tell you what firmware updates to look for. That way you can go into your local shop or call up the service people and say, hey, where do I get this so I can make my cell phone run properly? Good luck. It's a tough one to sort out, but no, there may be a fix for what's annoying you on your cell phone. Now, stay where you are. Next up, we're going to check our inbox to see what's on your minds. It's all coming up when the Screensavers continue.
You harmed one hair on the head of this cell phone.
You know what we're going to do for our next Windows or our next mobile tip? We're going to field strip Leo's very expensive cell phone. So, Sarah, do you have any email questions for us today?
I certainly do. Don't you just love this? It's all about my shoes. It's really the way it should be. But anyway, Scott wants to know, how long will data live on a thumb drive? Longer than CD? What are you doing?
It's field
What are you doing over there?
That's the SIM card, the battery, and the back cover. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to get some very expensive screwdrivers, and we're going to show you the inside of this fabulous Sony Ericsson telephone. No, actually, data probably will live a lot longer on a thumb drive than on a CDR.
I would think so, yeah.
Over time, it's going to deteriorate. That's kind of what we know. Whether that's a 20-year deterioration for CDR media or an 18-month deterioration waits to be seen. There's a magazine over in Europe somewhere
Germany,
that actually they're planning on doing a 3-year test of CDRs, and the editor basically went into the drawer where they were keeping these CDRs for this 3-year article they were doing, and they pulled out a couple of the CDRs. They started playing them. They realized that data was already wearing out. Basically, was already damaged after like 18 months. Yeah. Here's the thing: when you have silicon, when you have data written to silicon memory like that, basically, unless somebody shoots electricity through it, overwrites it manually, or beats on it with a sledgehammer, it's not going anywhere.
So it's pretty reliable.
Right. As long as the data connectors don't corrode or something like that. But again, they're all relatively mellow things to deal with compared to the ink inside of your burned disk.
You should probably always check any medium every few years and make copies. That's a good idea.
Yeah, but it should last a good long while.
What else, Sarah Lane?
Thanks. I appreciate it. That's nice of you, Dave. Appreciate it.
She's got a boy just to do that.
These shoes call, when you have shoes made of peeps, funny things are happening.
That's true.
All right, someone saw an episode of The Screensavers. They saw Foo's shirt that said, I steal music off the internet, and they love it. They want to know where we got it.
Jinx Hackware is a source for some of the fine t-shirts. Actually, we have the website up.
Oh, okay. What's the URL on that? Jinx
Is it jinxhackware.com? J-I-N-X. Big thing.
Yeah, we got it up.
There it is. There it is. I steal music off the internet.
They have lots of other fun ones.
They have great t-shirts. Good stuff. Do we have time for another question?
20.
I don't think so. Just say goodbye.
That's it for this edition of the Screensavers.
That's
I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks to our guests, too, Kate Salin and the lovely and talented Ben Affleck. Have a great evening. I'll see you tomorrow on Call for Help, 3 p.m. Eastern. Get Jersey Girl. Hey, nice.